Welcome to Daily Converse for Entrepreneurs. In this episode, we will talk about how you're creating problems that you don't need, how you're addicted to situations that keep repeating in your life, what holds you back the most, and how to fix it. And you will watch Shiraz Baboo, my friend, exposing and coaching me live on the show. Today, the topic is the problem is actually the solution, and we're going to have a very interesting conversation. As usual, please make sure you like and subscribe to the show. And if you have any questions for us, put them live in the chat, or even if you're watching or listening after the show, put them as a comment on social media, and we will get back to you on those questions. And if you have any friends that could benefit from this topic, which is an extremely important topic, tag them in a comment and I share the conversation and this amazing information with them, and or share the link with them. Also, we are sharing the checklist and the blueprint for our program, Simple Retention Formula. This is a program that helps you get appointments and sales within 24 hours of implementation. So if you're interested in getting appointments and referrals, which lead into sales, type retention in a comment below, and I'll send you the link to download the blueprint. My guest today is Shiraz Baboo. Welcome, Shiraz.
Thank you, Mustafa. Great to be here.
Great to see you, my friend. So I'm going to do the introduction to Shiraz, and we're going to dive into a very interesting conversation. Shiraz Baboo is an award-winning author, international speaker, and reality shifting specialist. Coaches and healers hire Shiraz to rewrite their business stories and the reality, because most people are unknowingly addicted to stories of adversity and struggle and left with a lack of success, confidence, and freedom. Shiraz helps you eliminate your unconscious addiction to these stories in order to ignite a stream of high-paying clients while fueling an abundance of free time, money, and energy. Welcome, Shiraz.
Thank you.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. Which part of the world are you in?
I am in Toronto, Canada.
Love it. And what's it like out there right now?
Windy and rainy.
Rainy?
At least it's not snowing. We've had snow in April.
Well, we got snow here overnight in Calgary, so it's a tad cold even for us in Calgary. I'm like, well, I was done for the cold to just leave us, but it just seems to creep in. Just as we think it's out, it just creeps right in. That's Canada. So we're talking about the problem, how the problem is actually the solution, which is a very interesting topic, and I really look forward to talking about this. And I really look forward to your coaching, helping me with an issue. So during our conversation, whatever issue comes up, I want to tell you that, Shiraz, this is an issue, and we're going to work on it. Okay. Right? And people get to watch me get exposed and coached live on my own channel. Let's see how that's going to turn out. So, Shiraz, let's get it started. What is your story?
My story started off when I was 22 years old. I was in university. I was studying to be a molecular geneticist, get my doctorate. My family is full of doctors, so everyone just sort of expected me to follow along and be a doctor as well. Mm-hmm. And I was also a bodybuilder. I was in the best shape of my life. Everything was going great. The world was my oyster. And then the world did not give me pearls. It gave me arthritis. And it wasn't just my body kind of hurts arthritis. It was intense pain in every joint in my body. There were nights where I would sip dinner through a straw because my jaw was so swollen and in pain. I would spend days lying in bed in pain, my body slowly deteriorating, joints deforming, and that started to become my life. And I tried different things, medication, supplements, diet, started doing things like acupuncture and the next best organic thing that would come out. And the crazy thing is everything worked for a little while, and then it would just stop working again. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And, have you ever had that situation, not the arthritis, but where, You've got life lined up. You know the plan. You're executing the plan, and then out of left field, bam. And you're like, now what? What the hell am I supposed to do now?
Every day.
Okay.
When
So
you think everything is just going to perfect as planned, but it just doesn't happen the way you wanted it.
Yeah. And yeah, so I had to change the plan. And when you have illness like arthritis, you build up a pain tolerance. So eventually I was able to get a life going. I switched to college, got a degree in computer science, went into the tech industry, but I was always in pain. And eventually I was developing a limp. I was losing mobility in my joints, but I was still out there trying to do things. And I remember at one time in one of the board meetings, it was Monday morning, we had come in, we're having this meeting, but as things are getting set up, one of the VPs or CEOs comes in, and he's just like, oh, and they're like, what? Oh, my back's kind of hurting. I was playing a lot of tennis this weekend, and now my back's really sore. It's going to affect me this week. I'm not going to be up to peak performance. I'm listening to this guy ramble on. I'm in intense pain, not showing it, not complaining about it. And this is his biggest problem. And have you ever been in that situation where you're like listening to this person, you go, if I only had the problems you had, I would be blowing by you right now. I would be doing so much better. And you're bitching about this little back pain. Like, you're nodding. You felt that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and this is the thing, because we all have these obstacles we have to deal with. Yours may not be arthritis, but there's this thing that I've got to deal with this on top of what's normally out there. And people are stuck in this. And like, how can I get past this? How am I supposed to compete with all these other people that don't have these problems, given that I have to deal with illness or 17 children? I don't know how many, like, racism, sexism, ageism, all these different things that can come up. So I continued along, and eventually I had a conversation with my dad, and it was almost 20 years since I got the arthritis. And I said, is there anything we haven't looked at? Is there anything you've heard about recently? And he said, there's a place that I've heard about in India where they do a thing called combined therapy. And they've had success with multiple illnesses. And that caught my attention, because it's usually you go to a place for arthritis, or you go to a place for cancer or diabetes. Right? And he said, no, they've been helping all sorts of people get through all illnesses. I'm like, how are they doing that? Right? So I get on a plane, I head over there, and I start working with this guy. And because it's India, I'm thinking it's some sort of Reiki, lay on hands thing. Okay, you're going to heal now. That's got to be the way they do everyone. But all he did was talk to me for 2 weeks. And it was like being with a psychiatrist, only he wasn't trying to solve anything. He was just gathering information, all the stuff, asking me all these little details about my life. And at the end of the 2 weeks, he says, Shiraz, here's the problem. You believe you're responsible for everyone in your life. And I said, no, I don't. And he said, yeah, I know you don't consciously think you're responsible for everyone, but from everything you've told me, you've created an unconscious belief that you're responsible for everyone in your life. And it started when you were around 8 years old. And I thought about it. I said, okay, I know I'm a responsible guy, but I don't think I'm responsible for everyone. And then I said, well, what does this even have to do with arthritis? There's no connection. He goes, oh, no. You don't want to be responsible for everyone. Yeah, obviously. If you're lying in bed in pain, you don't have to be responsible for anyone. If you're just trying to get through the days in pain, you can't afford to be responsible for other people. So it's the solution to a problem you don't even realize you have. And I thought, I went, that's messed up. And he goes, yes, but most chronic illnesses are solutions to problems people don't realize they have.
Let's say that one more time. That last sentence.
Most chronic illnesses are solutions to problems people don't realize they have.
Most chronic illnesses are solutions to problems they don't know they have.
Yes.
Expand on that, please.
So you create the illness as a solution, like for me, so I don't have to be responsible for it. Right? I worked with someone, and now illness isn't specifically my specialty, but I've helped a lot of people through illness in the course of creating success. And just last year, I worked with a woman. She had fibromyalgia. She was always in pain from the fibromyalgia. And when we started working together, we talked about her job, and she's like, "Oh, I hate my job." I'm like, "Well, why don't you get a different job?" And she said, "No, this is what I've been trained to do. This is what I studied for. I've got my pension building in this job. If I leave this job, I lose that. This is the job I have to be in." I'm like, "But you hate it." And she's like, "Yeah." And I said, "And you don't have to go that often because you're homesick with fibromyalgia. You're in too much pain to go to a job you hate." And she's like, "Oh, I never thought about it that way." I said, "I want you to think about it that way because you've created the fibromyalgia so you don't have to go to a job you hate. Now, what if you went to another job?" And of course, everything about her, everything she's believed is this is the job she has to be in because she loses the benefits, she loses um, the pension. This is the only thing she's trained for. Like it's all this. This is it. But eventually, I got her to make a decision. Let me try a different job, similar field or same field, but different place. I might have to lose that, but let me try something else. And she eventually found a job that she was excited to go to. And the day she made that decision to quit the job and go to the new job, the fibromyalgia went away because it was keeping her from going to the other job as often as she could. It gave her the break. So that's what happens with a lot of chronic illnesses. And it's not that they're fake because I've got the damage in my body from the arthritis to show that it's not fake. You actually get the illness, but it's your mind's protection mechanism from you not going into a situation you don't want to be in. Okay.
Very interesting. So, Shiraz, what is it that you do these days and who do you help?
So I help entrepreneurs, mostly coaches and some healers, to figure out what that problem is. So for me, when I got explained that, okay, this is a solution for a problem, my logical brain just went to, well, wait a sec. If this is a solution for a problem, then all I have to do is say, I'm not going to be responsible for anyone but me. And I shouldn't have the arthritis anymore because if that's the solution. And he said, yeah, if you actually believe it deep down that you're not responsible for anyone but you don't need the arthritis. Right? And so I said, fine, I'm not going to be responsible for anyone but me. And I just made that internal decision. And the next morning I woke up and there was no pain, no inflammation, more mobility, and I could even breathe better. And I'm freaking out because everything that I've learned is this doesn't happen overnight. There's no way you cure an illness like this overnight. Now, of course, the damage was still there. It's not like my body miraculously healed and everything was gone. But the pain, the inflammation, the symptoms of the arthritis were gone. And what's funny is there's a track that was there that I would be out on that track every day, just doing a walk. And at that time, because of all the pain and stuff, I was doing like this old man shuffle, like I was 70 years old, but I'd be doing the track every day because I'm trying to get some exercise. And I'm actually getting passed by people that are 70-year-olds that are walking along the track. Right? And but this day I get up and I'm on that track and I'm passing other people. I'm even passing people that are normal, just doing their walks around the track. And they're looking at me going, what the hell? And I'm like, I know, right? What the hell? And I get home and everyone's like, you're not limping anymore. You have more energy. What is going on? And it's like, because that problem is gone now. I got rid of the actual problem. And here's the thing, we've been talking about illness, but this is not about illness. This is about everything. If you have a consistent problem in your life, a reoccurring problem, or a barrier that you just can't get past, that's not a problem. That is the solution. And when you start to look for the actual problem, solve that, the thing you thought was the problem goes away.
Give me an example on that.
A simple one is a lot of people come, I'd like to make more money. Right. So,
right.
Yeah. How do I make more money? And I asked them, do you actually want to make a lot more money? Like, what if you made an extra $100,000 this year? And the resounding response is, that would be amazing. If I had made an extra $100,000 this year, then I could, pay off my debts, or I could go traveling, or, I could do the things I want. I could buy these things I've been wanting to get. And that's consciously, that's it. You're making the extra money, you can do all those things. But then we start going a little deeper. And I say, okay, what's going to happen with your friends and family when they find out you're making an extra $100,000 a year? And a lot of people go to, it's like, oh, they might say, could I have some? Can I borrow some? Can you invest in my project? And how does that make you feel? Oh, I don't want to have those conversations, right? And your brain prioritizes emotional distress over physical results. So if you don't want to have those conversations about money and giving your money away, or if you think that once you have that money, you're obligated to give it away, whether you want to or not, and you hate that feeling, your brain says, well, if we don't make that money, I don't have to go through that situation. Problem solved. So you unconsciously sabotage your own business so you don't have to go to that space. If you really hate rich people, if you complain about the millionaires and billionaires and how they're wasting things, then you will unconsciously keep yourself as far away from being one of those so that you don't have to complain about yourself. You don't have to feel people are complaining about you. If you lost a lot of money sometime and you feel shame around that and you've wasted it on all sorts of crappy stuff and you're like, I've got nothing to show for it, and you don't ever want to feel that shame again, then your brain says, don't make a lot of money because then we can't lose it. And all this is going under the surface. You don't realize it's there. You're just sitting there going, I'm trying my hardest in my business. Why am I not succeeding? Why am I not going past that threshold? Why are clients not showing up? But all the while, you're unconsciously sending out signals, taking actions, doing things that aren't going to propel you forward, thinking it's going to help. And it's not, because it's keeping you safe.
Interesting. So I think that's a common thing with a lot of people. Well, where they want to make money, but they're not. And what happens is, so based on what I'm hearing, you're saying they're keeping themselves safer,
Yeah.
or they think they're being safe by not doing what's needed to reach their goal, I guess.
Yep. Yeah. And again, the brain prioritizes the emotional over the physical. That emotional, I don't want to have those conversations, or I'll feel shame, or people are going to think of me as a rich ass, and I don't want them thinking of that. That's more important to your mind to not have those feelings than to not have money, or not have health, or not have wonderful relationships. Right? That's it.
I think I've got a bit of that going on. The other, I was thinking that my income has not been consistently growing at the same rate as my experience, my expertise, and my insights have been growing.
Okay.
And I think that's also a common problem with a lot of people.
Yes.
So let's tackle that, shall we?
Okay.
So that's it. That's what I was thinking.
Okay. So do you want your income to increase in a big way?
Yes.
See, that's not actually showing up as true. Now, here's one thing that I've learned is there are signs that come up when your conscious beliefs match your unconscious belief. And I pick up on them right away. So whenever I talk to people, I will tell you, okay, that's not coming up as true. So although you consciously say yes, unconsciously you're like, no, I don't want that money.
And you picked on that.
Yeah. And that's how I work with people, because I'm going to call you out over and over and over. So people are realizing,
okay,
oh, that's what's going on inside.
Okay.
So, and there's two reasons that you hold on to something that doesn't work for you. Number one is there's an immediate benefit to it, right? The benefit may not be what you think it is. So the most common benefit is you get to be right. And people choose being right over being rich, over being healthy, over having wonderful relationships, over being successful. And every time you're right, you get a hit of dopamine in your brain. So you actually build a dopamine addiction to that story of being right. And it feels good. Like it could be something like, my partners always cheat on me, and your partner cheats on you unconsciously. You're like, again? Oh my God, why? Why is this happening? Or it could be complete heartbreak because you've got that happen. But unconsciously, it's like, see, cheated on me again. I'm right. Whew, hit me with that dopamine. And you build that addiction. You can build the dopamine addiction to my partners are always amazing and always encouraging. But because you've built this one and it's working, your brain doesn't want to let go of it.
Fair enough.
All right. And this is it. It's like any addiction to any drug, any chemical. When you start to change it, you will also go into withdrawal, and it will try to pull things back. And you have to watch that. So let me ask you this. Have you ever gone to a workshop, a retreat, gone through a course, and at the end of it, you're like, oh, this is it. This changes everything. I got it. My whole life is going to change. And then after a few weeks or a few months, you end up back where you started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing worked. It got you out, but the withdrawal pulled you back in. So unless you're doing exercises and to keep yourself out, to keep yourself moving forward until you pass the withdrawal period, you end up back where you started. I mean, I've been through it multiple times myself until I realized this is what's going on. And sometimes you convince yourself, oh my God, they just made me think it, and it didn't really change anything. Well, it did, right? There's a lot of great programs out there that will change things for you, but if they don't have follow-up, if it's just this one weekend retreat and you're done, most of the time you're going to lose it, right? They say that's like less than 10% of people that go to like Tony Robbins events actually see concrete persisting change because there's no follow-up for those people.
All right, fair enough. Let's go back to the idea of what you said when you asked me, do you want a lot more money? I said yes, and you're like, no, I picked on that. That the answer is no. I want to explore that.
Okay.
Because I right now I'm thinking and I'm like, I don't see why internally I would say no to that.
Okay, so the two things we want, what's the benefit, immediate benefit now, or what horrible thing will happen if I let this change? Right. So like we talked about earlier, if I let it change and I make a lot of more money, people are going to come up and start asking me for money. I don't want to have those conversations. That's the horrible thing. But there's also just the immediate benefit. I've seen with money, if people don't want to do things, they use money as an excuse. Like, let's go out and go to this restaurant, and you don't really want to go to that restaurant. I'm sorry, I can't afford it. Right. But you unconsciously create enough poverty so you can say that without feeling guilty about saying it because it's real. So this is how we work, right? So what's going to change if you make more money as you increase your skills? If you make a lot more money as you increase your skills?
Are you asking me right now?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
So what's the question again?
What's going to change in your life if your income increases at the same or greater rate as your skills increasing?
What's going to change?
Yeah.
Size of my team is going to grow.
Okay. You didn't like that. What's wrong with the team growing?
I think there's a lot of time and effort involved in building a team, right? And building the right team.
Yep.
So that's one piece. My income growing, what's going to change? I'm going to be able to do a lot more than I want to. Why?
Than you want to. Okay, that's key though. What did you just said? I'm going to do more than I want to. Then why would you increase your income? Because you don't want to. Okay, and this is where
let's explore. So let's explore. I said I'm going to do more than I want to.
Yes. See, that's what's running in your subconscious. And this is not uncommon, especially with people that have a gift and want to help the world out. You think that when I'm capable of doing more, I have to do more. And now it becomes a burden instead of an inspiration.
Okay.
So, and this is where a lot of people live. A lot of people live in the have to rather than the get to. I have to work hard. I have to sacrifice my time. I have to help these people, right? My job is about helping people, and I don't have to help anyone, right? But I like to. I enjoy it. I get to do it, and that's a light energy. And as my business expands, I get to help more people, but I still don't have to. I could just say, I could start making a lot more money and not help any more than I want, and I'd still be okay with that. I wouldn't feel guilty that I'm not helping everyone I can. But people that are really empowered to change the world, they feel guilty if they don't help everyone they can possibly help. And so that they create these limitations so that they don't hit that level of guilt. And yours is, well, if I make a lot more money, I'm going to have to help these people. I'm going to have to build my team. I'm going to have to put the work in to build my team. And your whole body's like, oh, fuck, that's a lot. Like, I don't want to do that.
Fair enough. So I am I am working on becoming a better team builder.
Okay.
And working on it, like putting our team together. And so it's one block. The other piece is I don't want to be visible. I don't want to become a visible, like, oh, this guy has so much money and this guy this and that, I don't want that.
Okay. This guy has so much money. How is that a bad thing?
No, I'm talking not about the money thing. I don't like the visibility thing.
Okay.
I don't want to be out there being known as the person that runs around on social media and TV and here and there talks about how rich and how awesome he is and how much money I have in my bank account. I don't want it.
Okay. So this is another reason you're holding back, is that you don't want that to happen. So you minimize your income, you minimize your success to make sure that doesn't happen. Just because other people are doing it doesn't mean you're going to do it, but you believe you might turn into one of those people. Right?
Probably.
You're worried about what other people are going to think of you. And as soon as you start worrying about what everyone thinks of you, you cut everything off right there. You just put limitations, because now they have control of your life, whoever the hell they are. Because a lot of them, you don't even know who they are. It's just this they that's out there. And if you're worried, I don't want people talking about me like that way. I don't want anyone saying, oh, he's just out there for the money. You've handed over control of your life to the they.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't care what anyone thinks about you, you can do whatever the hell you want. There's the freedom. And it's not about not caring about people. Absolutely care about people. Just don't care what they think about you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So then, go ahead.
Okay. So what I do when I'm working with people is, when we get to a belief or a story. Now, a belief is something that just is like the sky is blue or chocolate tastes good. A story is something that happens over and over again. This always happens to me. No one ever listens to me. Story of my life. That's it. I'm going to ask, are you willing to destroy the belief, or are you willing to step out of the story? If you say yes and you mean it, it actually starts a rewiring in your brain to that new reality. You let go of that thing you've been holding on to. Okay. Now, I'm not causing you to do this. I'm asking you the question. You're the one making the decision and starting the rewiring of your own brain.
Mm-hmm.
Clear about that, because I get a lot of people that come up to me and say, Shiraz, please shift this for me. Change the way I think. And I'm like, it's not me. I'm just finding out what the problem is. It's got to be you. Okay. All right. So are you willing to step out of your story that if you make lots of money, you'll become like one of those people that shows off about their life and their money to everyone?
Can you say that one more time?
Are you willing to step out of your story that if you make a lot more money, you'll become like one of those people, those arrogant people that shows off about their lifestyle and their money and all their success?
Yes.
Okay. I actually react when people shift. So, whew. Are you willing to step out of your story that you have to limit your money, your success, and your fame so no one thinks of you as one of those arrogant people that's just about those things?
Yes.
Ooh. And are you willing to step out of your story that having more money obligates you to do more than you want to do?
I still have to work on that a little.
Okay.
So the other piece about visibility is not about the arrogance of people. It's just about the visibility and being out there. I think it's about the exposure.
Okay.
Right. I don't care about the arrogant people out there doing whatever they do.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like,
okay.
the thing that comes to my mind is like, I just don't want to be out there and be visible and run around and tell everyone that, oh, look at me, I'm this is what I have.
But what's so bad about being people seeing you?
What's so bad? So what couple of things that pops in my mind as you ask that question is, I had an uncle who was, let's call him my rich dad,
Okay.
right? And this guy was well off.
Yep.
And a couple of times he actually, as he was driving, some people that knew him pulled him over, knocked him out, stole money from him, left him stranded on the highway. And that's what pops in my mind as you're
Okay.
asking that question.
So that's what you're trying to avoid, right? You've decided that if you become visible, that's going to happen to you. Right? But there's a lot of people that are visible that never happens to them. And this is what we do: is we take from the experiences we had in life, the things that we've learned, and we decide, well, that's just the way things are, rather than, well, that's just what happened to that person. There's all these possibilities, but that's just what happened to that person. And then you lock that in and create your life around it so that you can be safe. You're trying not to be pulled out of your car and attacked and robbed. Right? It may never happen. It's likely it will never happen. But because you know what happened to a specific person, you've anchored that in your body, and you're like, okay, I can only become this visible because once I pass that threshold, I might get attacked. I can only make this much money because after I pass that threshold, there's going to be bad things happening. And that's what's going on. And everyone does this. Every single person does this. So are you willing to step out of your story that if you become more visible, what happened to your uncle will happen to you?
Yes.
Whew. Okay. I just want to do a little check in here. How do you feel now? Better, worse, the same, or different? There's no wrong answer here.
I have a lot of sensations in my skin.
Yeah.
So it's feels like my body's pretty worked up.
Yeah. And everyone, when they do this, their body reacts differently.
Yeah. Feel like I've tapped into my subconscious pretty deeply here.
Yeah. Okay. And this is also important because most people are trying to create their life from what they don't want to happen rather than what they do want to happen. Right? It's towards motivation and away from motivation. Away from motivation, I'd say, I don't want this to happen. I don't want to be like these people, right? I don't want anyone to think this. That doesn't lead to success. Towards motivation does.
Interesting.
If you study law of attraction, it's like whatever you focus on, you attract or you create. And if your focus is, I don't want to be like these types of people, your focus isn't on, I want to be this wonderful person. It's on, I don't want to be like these types of people. So you're going to start to see other people being like that and people reacting to them. And you're like, see, I got to make sure I'm not like that because that's where your focus is. But if you're like, I'd like to be like these people that are inspiring, that people are looking up to, that are changing the world, well, then you're going to see more of those people in your life. And you're like, yes, that's exactly what I want. And that's going to just push you forward and into pull you forward into that space. There's a whole difference in when you learn how to deal with push energy versus pull energy, right? Most people live in push energy. Successful people have shifted over to pull energy. You can tell this too, because what's the last big concert you ever went
to? Some Persian singer named Ebi.
Okay. Is that a girl or a guy?
It's a guy.
It's a guy. Okay. So was he pushing his energy and talent into the audience, or was he pulling everyone into his performance?
Pulling.
Yeah. See, these people that are on stage, they've mastered. That's why they get the bigger stages, right? And this is also important when you are trying to make sales, when you're trying to connect with people. That's why we have an expression, pushy salespeople. They're pushing their product, their energy, everything at you. But if you're in a pull energy, people are like, hey, wait, how do I get to work with you? Please just tell me. Like, here's my money. Take it. Like, when you've mastered that pull, that's what happens with you.
Interesting. So what's the next step for me? What else do I need to like tap into or explore and or do with this the 2 or 3 points that we just talked about?
So you want to keep exploring what's the benefit in the current situation, and how do I shift that? You want to look at the life you want to create and get into a pull energy towards that, rather than I want to make sure this doesn't happen.
Oh, here's another thing that just popped up.
My what just popped
Benefit of the current situation, as you were talking, is I get to spend more time with my family.
Okay. And that's a big one. If you become more successful,
a big one. And family is my number one value.
Yep. But here's the thing: if you are building a team and you're delegating all the responsibility you can to that team, you get more time with your family, not less. Right? I had shoulder surgery one time, and the surgeon was just so inspiring, and I never forgot what he told me, because I came in for initial consultation, which was like 15 minutes, and then he says, "I'll see you at surgery," and I'm like, "That's it?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm the race car driver." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "So people go out to the Indy 500 and they watch the race car drivers, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And the race car drivers are the stars. They drive the car around the track. I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "But who builds the car? Who does the promotion? Who's like taking care of the sponsors?" Like, there's all these people involved that make that a success. It's not just this one guy who built his own car and put it all together, but he comes in, drives the car. He's really good at what he does. And then he gets all the accolades and he goes home. And that's all he has to do. He has to come in, drive the car, and leave. That's how I've built my business. So I've given you this consult, so I know what's going on now. There's going to be a bunch of people you're going to work with. They're going to take care of everything else, and I'll come in and I'll do the surgery, because I'm the race car driver. Now, if you have to be a part of your business, then you have to build your business as though you're the race car driver. If you're building your business in a different way, you can build your business so you don't even have to show up when money comes in. There's the two types of business. Like, most coaches want to be there because they want to coach people, so they got to be the race car driver. But other people build businesses, if it's products-based business especially, you don't have to be there. Just get the people to sell the products and get it out there. But a lot of people think, I have to be there. I'm important. I have to be responsible for everything and every part of my business. No one's going to be able to do it as well as I do, because it's my business and I know it. And I won't feel valuable unless I'm involved in everything. So there's a little bit of ego playing in there, or sometimes a lot of ego playing in there. And as a result, you're overworking yourself. You're spending too much time. You're micromanaging people. Sometimes you unconsciously hire incompetent people, so you can say, "Look, see, I have to do it because everyone I hire can't do it." You'll do these things to show why you have to work hard and stay in your business. But if you switch over to that race car driver mentality, your goal is, how can I put this team in place and build things up so that I can spend way more time with my family and way less time in the business? And it doesn't mean you don't want to do the business. It doesn't mean you don't want to put a whole bunch of value in there. But right now, you're probably in a position where you're doing things that can be delegated, but you haven't put yourself at an income level high enough that you can start delegating them so that you can spend more time with your family. And of course, your brain is doing the exact opposite, saying, "Oh, but if I hire more people, I'm responsible for those more people. I have to do all the training of those more people. It's less time with my family." No, not going to do it. Even though the outcome is going to be the opposite.
This question for me is, how can I build a team and a business that allows me to spend more time with my family?
What do you want to be doing in your business?
What's that?
What do you want to be doing in your business? Not what has to be involved in your business, but what do you want to be doing in your business?
When? Yeah, my question is, like, I think there's different stages of business.
Okay.
Like in initial stages, I'm running it, I'm building it. Then there's like there's the time when I'm just managing it, and then there's the exit phase where I would start working my way out and have the team run by itself.
Okay.
So my question is, at what stage are you asking me? to answer this question?
I guess it comes back to how much time do you want to spend with your family? Right? So you have to look at, this is how much time I want to spend in the business versus my family, and then start building it with that goal in mind. Right. My coaches always say, start with the end in mind. If you're eventually going to sell the business and exit the business, then you've got to say, okay, what's the quickest way I can get from now to exiting that business? But if you want to be involved in the business and be doing the
All right,
daily,
so I can answer that question. I want a business to be able to run by itself and have me be gone 2 months a year.
okay,
Like I'm only maybe checking in
yeah,
via email, text, or a WhatsApp message or something.
okay,
But other than that, it runs by itself.
okay,
And and here's the story behind that. So that I can spend more time with my mom and dad and my brothers
okay,
and the rest of my family.
yeah. All right. So instead of focusing on what do I have to do immediately, you start with, that's where I want to go. So your brain starts thinking, like, once you say that's what I want to create, that's where I want to be, your brain will automatically start thinking about it in the background. And then from there, each day you want to think and say, what is the action I can take today that will have the biggest impact to get me from where I am to where I want to be? Okay. Now this is important, because we're talking impact, not effort. The biggest impact could be calling someone to make a JV deal that's going to propel things forward. And it's a 2-minute conversation. And that's the biggest thing you want to do for that day. You can do a whole bunch of other things that day, but you want to get that done. And then the next day, what's the biggest thing I can do today? Well, it's going to be teaching this class. What's the biggest thing I can do today? It's going to this training to up my skills. And each day, what's the biggest impact thing I can do? The average person does this 0 times a year. People do it, but it's so small. It's less than 1. It's closer to 0 than 1 for the average person. And that's why they get the results they're doing. But if every day you're like, what's the biggest impact thing I can do? And you do it, your business just keeps moving forward and forward and forward to that goal. But you got to start with that goal, so that you have that as that mile, that flag at the end saying, that's where I'm heading.
Let's walk through an example. So what's the question is, what's the biggest impact thing that I could do to get me closer to my goal?
Yes.
So I'm trying to answer that question.
It's going to be different every day, right? That's the thing, right? So
it will be different every day.
It'll be different every day. So, the biggest impact thing I did on the weekend was teach a class, because a whole bunch of people came in and paid for that class, and that brought in income, which is going to help my business, right? The biggest impact thing I'm doing today is being on your show, because I'm getting exposed to more people and taking my brand out there. So this is the biggest impact thing today. Sometimes the biggest impact, and this happens because people have to allow for this, sometimes the biggest impact thing you can do for that day is not do anything, because you need a damn break.
Yeah, I actually did that. Can I share a story from Friday?
Sure, absolutely.
Past Friday, I woke up in the morning and I'm like, I've done what I needed to do for the past month. Today, I'm just going to chill out. And I'm going to let God and the universe and the people and all the conversations do their magic. Funny enough, there was more money in my account by the end of the day on Friday.
That's how it works.
Right? And I was not expecting that. This is not some woo-woo shit that I'm talking about. Like, literally, I sat back on Friday. I was talking to a couple of people like, I don't feel like working today. I'm just going to chill, right? And then even today in the morning, I'm like, I have a few meetings lined up. I'm not going to work in between. I'm good. Like, I gave myself permission to just chill and let the magic do its work. and I feel much better when I do that. Like when I'm frustrating myself with too much work and too much effort and too much stress, it almost always doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because you're in a place of resistance.
Yeah.
And everything works easier when you're in willingness rather than when you're in resistance.
Absolutely. So let's talk about more. Is there anything else, anything more that you like to work on me or with me that on what we talked about?
Okay. So how do you feel now? Because I think we have to work a little bit more on this about being visible.
How do I feel about being visible?
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking about right now,
Mm-hmm.
what comes to mind is I don't have a problem with personally being visible. That what comes up is I don't want my bank account to be visible.
Okay. And you don't have to make your bank account visible.
That's the obvious thing.
Yeah. But see, again, you're worried that if your bank account was visible, then people will come after you because they know how much money you have. Is that correct? Or is it
Yeah,
another?
I guess.
Okay. So, but there's all these people out there that have lots of money that
Are invisible.
they're invisible. Like
Yeah.
one of my best friends, he's a multi-millionaire, and you wouldn't know it. All right. Because he doesn't show off the money. He has nice things, but he doesn't have like super nice things to really show off how much money he's got. Right. Um, but he just lives this wonderful life. He travels all the time. He's got resorts in different countries, but he's just laid back and just. I don't bring it up. People don't ask. If the thing is, if people do ask, he's not ashamed to bring it up because he's just being real. But he's not worried about what people think, and that's what it comes back to. You're worried about what people are going to think of you, how they're going to react to you, how they're going to respond, and that worry causes you to go in a place of contraction, limitation, and keep yourself small and invisible.
Interesting. So let's talk about how. By the way, thank you for that. That was very helpful. I think I'm going to dig deeper into this. And one thing I just wrote down is there's that exercise of asking questions, putting a statement or a question and asking why five or six times.
Yeah.
And getting to the core of what actually is the problem.
Yes.
I'm going to do that with a few of my statements that I put down. And let me just go over is do more than I have to. I'm gonna answer that question. Don't want to be visible. I'm gonna answer that question and go, do the why question.
Okay.
And get to the core of that. And then, I'm going to do that tonight. So one thing I want to circle back to is that concept of pushing versus pulling, which sounds very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind expanding on that and tell us first expand more on the description of what it is and how we could use it and apply it in our day-to-day life?
Pushing energy is more of a controlling energy. You're trying to get a specific result that has to be that way. And you can feel that again with the pushy salesperson. You can be like, oh my God. And sometimes that works. But most people that get pushed into a decision end up having buyer's remorse. Pulling is an invitation. Come on this journey with me. Come play with me. Come see what I have. And people they love to get into a pull energy. You're pulled into people's music. You're pulled into movies and TV shows. You can be pulled into someone's business. And it's not just to get them in. When you're in the business, you want to stay in that pull energy. Come along for this journey. Let's have some fun. Let's change some things. I'm just going to pull you along for the ride. And people are always happy to just get pulled along for some crazy adventure, even if it's building their business, changing their lives, even in products. Using a product, people get pulled in for the adventure of the product. If you watch commercials, like you watch like a gum commercial, they're not saying have our gum. It tastes good and it'll be nice and chewy and it'll sate your hunger or something like. They're like, you'll have fun on the beach and you'll meet the girl of your dreams or the guy of your dreams and your whole life will change. You're being pulled into that adventure, but the commercial is about gum. And it's like, is gum really going to do that? Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So as you're saying that pulling kind of sounds to me like attraction, like invitation.
Yes.
Trying something.
Yep.
Testing something, doing a trial on a product versus this is good, this is amazing, try it, test it, you're gonna die if you don't. That's like pushy versus do you want to test this? Are you open to testing this and see if it will work for you?
Yeah.
Like that's like an invitation, like a pulling type of thing.
Yeah. So yeah, and you're right, because like pushing is just like, if you don't do this, your life will suck. And pulling is, what if by doing this you get the life of your dreams? I'm like, I'd rather go for option two.
Right. And here you can get a taste,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, that's 100% okay.
Yep.
All right. Very interesting. Pulling versus pushing. And, that's why in my business, I like the pulling piece as well.
Mhm.
Like reaching out to people and inviting them and nurturing them and staying in touch with them, to provide value, right? That's how
Yes.
you pull them in versus, you know, the other way around, I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting. So let me ask you a few personal questions.
Sure.
This was very interesting. Before we do that, can you tell us about your gift, please? The
Okay.
focusing audio to build your mental muscle.
Yes. So this is something that I didn't realize I was even doing, and it was pointed out to me through a program I was in last year. And that is, if you want to change your way of thinking, you have to be able to hold a thought for a minimum of 17 to 35 seconds. But most people's attention span is around 8 seconds long. Okay.
Probably about 1 second right now after COVID.
Yeah. So what this is it's 2 minute, 5 minute, and 12-minute exercises that teach you how to focus better. They guide you through focus exercises so that you can maintain that thought. So when you decide, I'm going to create this in my life, you can hold the focus on that thought longer. And I do the 12-minute exercise every morning, and I've been doing it for years. And people are always like, Shiraz, how come you stay calm when everything goes to hell? How come that you can just be pleasant when someone is telling you that your stuff doesn't work, or they're breaking down and crying because of what's going on in their life, and you're still just compassionate and calm and loving, and nothing ever really seems to phase you? And and I realized it was because I do these exercises every day, so that when I want something to happen, I can just be focused and make it happen. And when things start to go to hell around me, I can stay in this calm, focused space. And that's so important in navigating what happens in life, because there's always going to be unexpected things that come up. And how you handle those things is going to determine what outcomes you get in the future. And I didn't realize, like, I just thought I was a natural calm person until one of the people that does a similar program was showing similar exercises. And I'm like, oh my God, I do that every day. And he showed actually brain scans of how it's shifting the neurons in the brain, lighting up the areas that create calmness, give you serotonin and dopamine to keep you calm and happy, and decreasing the areas where there's a lot of fear, where there's holding back, where you're creating stress. And so I'm like, okay, here are the audios. Now you guys can listen to them too, and it just guides you through the exercise. And this is the thing: the shortest ones are 2 minutes. You just need to do it a few times a day, 2 minutes when you have breaks, and it's going to have an impact. That's the wonderful thing about it. You don't need to go hours and hours and hours. 2 minutes to 12 minutes. Oh, you're muted.
I'm sorry. That's very interesting. So, gang, this is a very valuable gift. If you want to get access to Shiraz's focusing audio to build your mental muscle. And so you said that we need to hold that thought for 17 to 30 seconds.
17 to 35 seconds.
And to make that happen, or is that to kind of what's the word that I'm looking for? How did you describe that again? Hold that for that long
to stay in a place, like, for people that talk about law of attraction, that's how long the minimum time to start manifestation going. But it's also the amount of time that you're now determined to make something happen. It's a point at which the brain starts to rewire instead of stay where it's being defaulted at.
Fantastic. So if you have, like, say, an image of a final destination of your goal, you need to hold it for 17 to 35 seconds.
Yeah.
For your brain to kind of formalize that picture
Yeah.
to say, this is what we're looking for.
Yes.
Love it. See, that's another new thing that I learned today. I didn't know that, because I probably just thought about my goal for like a second, and then before it before before it was vivid, it was like gone before I started thinking about it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, gang, if you would like to get better at visualizing and manifesting your goals, download and get access to Shiraz's gift, Focusing Audios to Build Your Mental Muscle. The link is in the comments. It's in the descriptions of the show, and you can get access to that for free. And if you have a need to reach out to Shiraz, if you're joining us just right now, just go back on the show and watch what Shiraz did to me to uncover some of the issues that I was dealing with on why my income hasn't paralleled my experience and expertise and levels, and it hasn't gone up with the same, exponential curve that they're far apart. And I think I found some good stuff that I'm going to work on. And so if you need that and you need to tap into what is blocking you and to uncover those issues, download the audio, reach out to Shiraz and get access to that. Now, Shiraz, can I ask you some personal questions?
Yes.
So what is a new thing that you have tried recently?
It depends how recent you're talking. So
it could be personal, it could be business, could be big or small. Something could be as small as a small cup of coffee or flying to moon.
Well, the big new thing I'm doing right now is I'm in a speak to sell program that goes for a year. And I realized that I give a lot of content, I give a lot of value to people, but not enough people I feel are going from, hey, that was amazing, to, hey, that was amazing, let me buy your program. So now I'm in this program, and the cool thing about it is it's not just getting me those skills, but part of it is getting me on 100 different stages in the next year. So
over the next year, you're got to be on 100 stages.
Yeah. So my goal is big time visibility.
And then how many have you crossed off so far?
I'm doing
this just in 2022. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. So I actually started on Valentine's Day is when the program started for me. And I have been on probably 2 stages a week since then. And the thing is,
on 2 stages a week.
Yeah. Now, because remember, we got virtual stages, so I can go onto a summit and just spend half an hour to an hour, and I'm done. So yeah, and 100 stages. If I do 2 stages a week, I'm at 100 right there. Like, it's not actually that much when you think about it.
I could live with 50 stages this year.
Yeah, stage a week.
And if we got the right stages, I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
that'd be a good one. All right, perfect. So next question: what are your top 2 favorite books of all time?
Oh my God. Ready Player One, and the other one would probably be on the self-help area.
Something you recommend all the time, something you made a massive impact in your life or business?
Yeah, Untethered Soul.
Untethered Soul.
Yeah.
Love it. What did you like about Untethered Soul? Because I've heard that a few times.
It really just explains how you're, like, things I've been talking to you about, how you're holding yourself back, how there's so much more you're capable of and connected to, but you're just denying that. And it talks about why you're denying it and how you can really get in touch with it. And so you're getting untethered, so you can just do whatever the hell you want, right? So
basically the core of what we talked about today.
Yeah.
Love it. What's one advice that made a massive impact in your life or business?
Again, what we're talking about, when one of my teachers explained, everything is just stories. Everything is just stories, and every story can be changed, and every person is running around in their own story. Reality that as we see it, is just the majority vote on what stories are real. That's it. And Absolutely. So you see people doing all sorts of crazy things. They're like, how they did that. They're just in a different story than the one you're in.
Fantastic. Now, Shiraz, if you had a Facebook or a Google ad where everyone on the planet with access to internet could see your message
Yeah.
on mobile or on their desktop, what would your message be for the people of Earth?
It'd probably be along the same thing that your story is what you're deciding. Although most of your decisions are coming at an unconscious level, not a conscious level. But what's most important right now is be happy, have fun, be silly and laugh. Because a lot of times people treat happiness as an illness, and they're like, "What drugs are you on? What's wrong with you?" So don't be afraid to be the happiest person in the room. I laugh big belly laughs every day. And I invite you to do the exact same thing because it's only going to make your life better.
Absolutely, 100%. I follow that philosophy every day. I'm always the silly guy, funny guy, cracking jokes. I do not have a problem looking dumb or stupid. Hence, I don't have a problem being coached live on my show.
Yes, exactly.
I could be the dumb guy, no problem. You know. Shiraz, this has been an amazing conversation. Is there anything that you'd like to add that you maybe didn't mention before we wrap up?
I think we're good. Yeah, just go out there and make your life as enjoyable as possible because why else are we here, right? We're not really here to work hard all the time. We're here to have an enjoyable life. So make that the priority.
Absolutely. Gang, thank you for joining us. As usual, if you have any questions for me or for Shiraz, put them in a comment and or reach us, send me a PM or send Shiraz a PM. He is tagged into the messages here. And again, if you haven't downloaded Shiraz's gift, let me bring up the descriptions here to the focusing audio to build your mental muscle. Get free access to that. And reach out to Shiraz if you want to do an exploratory kind of conversation to figure out and find the blockages like I do, and then reach out. And as usual, we are running the blueprint to simple retention formula, the step-by-step process. If you're interested in getting appointments and referrals from your existing list, that is a warm list where they know, like, and trust you, and your conversion rates would be at least 10 times what you're doing on social media and advertising elsewhere, this blueprint will show you how to do it. So if you're interested in that, just type retention in a comment on any platform that you're watching, and we'll send you the link. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye now.